Hey everybody, Kevin here, and I have some interesting things that I want to share with you about the iPad Pro. Now, I don't do as many caricatures as I used to, but here's a sketch of a caricature scene that I was sort of commissioned to do. And this is analog, obviously it's on a piece of paper, pencil sketch, kind of a rough draft, if you will. And after a few back and forth ideas and this, then there was a second sketch. Put that over here. So this turned out to be the second sketch. Let me put both of these up here. You can kind of compare. It's like just a little bit differences here, a little bit. But typically, now, like I said, I don't typically do these much anymore. But one particular person, I've done several of these for this family over the years. I think, well, I'll do another one for them. What happened is with the iPad Pro, I thought I'd do it digitally, completely all digital. I used to do that on the art table, light table, inking, and then go into the computer like Illustrator, Photoshop, and do digital color. So I thought, let me see if I can do the entire thing digitally on the iPad Pro. And it took a little bit longer than expected, simply because I'm still getting used to all the different apps. Which one works better. So I started with Concepts app. Let me show you the Concepts app. I started with this one, and while I really like this app for many reasons, one of the things, and maybe it's just me, I've not really explored the app because it's got a lot of features and a lot of tools, and maybe I'm just using 20% of what it's capable of doing. One thing I really like about this particular app is its vector. I can go all the way in here and you can see these are vector lines. Now the downside, and again, it might be just me not being able to know this tool very well yet, but notice the line weights. The weights are all one thickness. What I'm trying to get here is sort of a brush line, like a different thicknesses and brush line. So I thought, well, I'll just outline it here with these lines real quick, and you can see it's kind of, the lines, there's a little kind of goober right there. This line isn't touching here, but this is just a rough sort of outline. I figure then I can take it into Illustrator and then use brushes in Illustrator, different line brushes in Illustrator to get the different thicknesses and weights that I wanted. Well, the more I thought about that, the more I realized, that's going to be a lot of work, because then I have to go back and touch each one of these lines individually and reshape them in Illustrator. And the idea was to stay in the iPad Pro. That was sort of my boundary or my own challenge. I want to do this entire thing in the iPad Pro. The other thing with Concepts is the shape fill. It's a little different type of tool than I'm typically used to. And I think, again, it's more about me not being completely comfortable with it. So that's as far as I got. One thing I do like, oh, look, I moved that piece right there. Let me back it up. There we go. One thing I do like about Concepts is the ability to rotate. Without having to rotate the actual iPad, I can just rotate the canvas. And that, I can't tell you how, I've been waiting for that for a long time. The other really great advantage of Concepts is layers. So I can build different layers as we go along here and build each structure. So I can, here's the sort of the tagline, and then there's a layer for the players, and there's a layer for the field, the logo, so on and so forth. But again, so I did all this work. I thought, it's just not, I'm not feeling it. So let me switch gears and let's go away from vector and let's go to like Photoshop, where I can really use the brushes. So I moved away from the Concepts app and went to Adobe Sketch. So here's the sketch. I imported it in, brought it in, and you can see the line weights. And again, real quick, I learned real quick that, this isn't going to be the app for me. Not so much the line weights, because I was able to get the different thicknesses that I wanted. The downside to this app, I can't rotate the canvas. There's no rotating, and there's no layers. Now again, and maybe I'm not seeing it, but there's no ability to add layers here. So this is a quick, and it's Adobe Sketch. So I think it's a sketching app. It's not really a really creative app. So I went back out to the old app library here, and here are the different apps that I have currently on my iPad for different things. And I tried Sketchbook Pro as well, and I like that, but that's I already knew, I'm pretty familiar with that app and already knew I didn't want to use that one. So then I haven't used ProCreate in a long time, so I thought, well, let me revisit ProCreate. And I ended up finding out that this one is perfect for this type of work. Not only that, but I've also noticed the ability to adjust this rotate is a lot smoother than the Concepts app. I can spin this all the way around and it's just as smooth as it could be. And I was able to get the different thicknesses and the line weights. I was using it, and then I can paint and do the different sort of techniques that I want. Partly because I haven't used this in a long time, I'm really not familiar with a lot of the different brushes, but there is a huge library of different brushes that I could use not only for inking, but also for painting. So there's plenty of tools here available, and the layers as well. There's quite a few different, the layers is just, I mean, it's like Concepts. You can move them around in different things. So anyway, this ended up being the final. And then ultimately you could export this out. Let me show you real quick. You can export it as a video, which I didn't know that, but it records the whole thing as well. And I'm gonna share that separately. But then you can export it out as a PSD and then share it out to whatever app you need it to. Or you can share it out as a JPEG or a PNG. So what I did is I ended up sharing it out as a PSD, and then I'm able to go in there and reformat it for different for post-production, for printing and things. I just wanted to make sure the right color color profile was set. So for printing, because this is going to be printed in frame for this customer. Anyway, so I thought that was interesting, just sort of an exploration of the different apps on the iPad Pro. So hopefully this helped you out a little bit if you're figuring out which apps you're trying to use for different projects. I wouldn't use this ProCreate for every project, but these types of projects, I think I'll stay with ProCreate for now unless I discover some other things in some of these other tools. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.